Hi everyone, today our team will be sharing on ComfortDelgro's strategy in the ride-sharing era. Comfort is the largest taxi operator in Singapore, operating in the ride-hailing industry where both taxi operators and ride-sharing services compete. Why are we here today? The current situation reveals that ComfortDelgro's taxi segment has been experiencing worsening performance on multiple fronts. Firstly, its fleet size has experienced consecutive reduction for 5 months, with sharpest drop in November to December. The growth of its revenue has also leveled across years and turned negative in 2017. Its operating profit has also been impacted, with a negative 20% change in 2017. Based on performance parameters defined by the generic strategy, Comfort is definitely not in good shape. Let's borrow Porter's 5 forces analysis to further narrow down on Comfort's challenges. When it comes to rivalry, we see that it is the greatest threat in the industry. While recent consolidation between Uber and Grab has reduced the number of players, the increase in Grab's market power, coupled with its partnerships to 5 other taxi operators in Singapore, has placed Comfort in a position of head-on competition with the burgeoning threat. Moreover, ride-hailing is a relatively undifferentiated service where competition is gradually shifting to the dimension of price, leading to aggressive price cuts. In terms of buyer power, we also see it as a medium threat due to the low switching costs for buyers, such that consumers can switch easily to Grab based on price and availability. However, as they are essentially individual customers, the threat is not as large. In terms of new entrants, we categorized it as a medium level of threat on account of medium entry barriers, since the mid to high supply side economies of scale are balanced by low customer switching costs and medium capital requirements. Threat of substitutes was categorized as low, as there seems to be no close substitute available to the ride-hailing in terms of providing convenient and quick point-to-point land transport. Finally, in terms of supplier power, we categorized it as low, as taxi drivers are not consolidated and Comfort owns its own fleet. From this analysis, the main strategic challenge that we have identified for Comfort is: how can Comfort remain competitive in the ride-hailing industry? In order to tackle this challenge, our team has defined a strategic roadmap comprising of 3 stages. Firstly, to leverage on Comfort's existing strengths. Secondly, to disrupt Comfort's outdated ways of working. And finally, to redefine what Comfort means to their consumers. Seems abstract? Let's explain on the way. Leverage. For a winning strategy, Comfort has to avoid playing catching up. This is why this stage of leverage plays on 2 key principles. Firstly, the reorganization of existing resources and capabilities into VIN bundles so as to form strategic assets that Grab cannot easily catch up to. And second, to target gaps or relatively untapped segments of the market. These 2 principles combined serve to create winning niches built on Comfort's core strengths. The desired outcome of this is to directly tackle our strategic challenge by allowing Comfort to compete on different dimensions from Grab, therefore reducing head-on competition. We have 2 solutions under this stage. Let's start with the first. Before we move forward, our team would first like to establish that it is important for Comfort to improve its application to a level of reasonable parity. In fact, from our research, based on the influx of new entrants and app developers offering similar ride booking softwares, as well as the commentary of technology experts, the core tech that Grab possesses is no longer as unique as before, especially basic services such as locating the nearest cars or predicting pickup and drop-off timings. Since booking convenience is a core attribute of ride-hailing, this is an inevitable step for Comfort to make. What the rest of our strategies serve to do is to ensure that Comfort doesn't simply fall into competitive parity, but charges forward with points of differentiation. In order to identify the market gaps that Comfort could fulfill, our team looked into trends characterizing our customer base in Singapore. We see 2 key changes. Firstly, the senior population has been outgrowing the total population at 5.4 CAGR to 1%. And secondly, old age support ratio has also been consistently decreasing. With an aging population receiving less support, seniors need newer means of transportation for their healthcare or rehabilitation needs, creating a new market for non-emergency transportation, which have three key important traits: hassle-free, mobile aid-friendly, and economical. Moreover, we realized that several of Comfort's unique resources and capabilities could be integrated into a resource bundle that effectively meets the market demand. Comfort's majority fleet ownership and expertise in vehicle engineering mix enables it great flexibility in modifying its fleet for the non-emergency transportation services, while its fleet of well-trained, licensed drivers not only provide reassurance of safety, but also the opportunity to equip additional skill sets relevant to non-emergency transport services. We therefore recommend Comfort Silver, which are a subset of Comfort's fleet of taxis equipped with senior-friendly features with specialized driver training. These cabs still operate as normal cabs, but are able to utilize special features during booking or hailing by seniors. To evaluate this recommendation further, we put it in perspective of RIN, to understand if this strategy could allow Comfort to enjoy a sustainable competitive advantage. Looking at the current state, Comfort strengths that have made up the resource bundle are currently lacking in Grab and serve as weaknesses that impede the implementation of a similar strategy. For instance, Grab relies heavily on its partners' fleets, therefore does not have sufficient flexibility nor expertise for further feature modifications. Moreover, its drivers are mainly private hires with little reassurance for safety nor training opportunities. Going one step further to evaluate potential competitive actions, it is likely that Grab will find comparable features either difficult to implement or require substantial investment. By implementing a strategy that leverages on Comfort's strengths where Grab's weaknesses lie and specialize in a niche segment, Comfort may be able to sustain a competitive advantage, at least for a while. Let's move on to our next strategy under leverage. Again, our team evaluated the market for gaps that Comfort could fill. We categorized people looking for transport along the parameters of routine versus on-demand travel and low-priced versus mid-priced. While Grab is largely catered to serving the on-demand segment, it is less catered to routine travel. In the routine travel segment, most consumers end up with public transport, which is cumbersome and horrible, especially during peak hours. Yet, on-demand services hired for routine travel are usually too costly and tend to be scheduled on the spot, subject to surge pricing. We therefore see a large underserved segment of mid-priced routine transportation to cater to middle-income individuals who do not want to go through chaotic public transport, yet do not want to pay high fees for car rides. At the same time, we analyze Comfort's resources for strategic assets that are fit to serving the market demand. In particular, we noted Comfort's fleet management expertise, which Grab lacks due to its reliance on partnerships, Comfort's expertise in operating routine bus routes due to its 70% ownership in SBS Transit, which far outweighs Grab's operation of small on-demand bus routes through Grab Shuttle, as well as Comfort as the largest private bus charter in Singapore. It is likely that Grab will also find comparable resources or capabilities either difficult to implement or require substantial investment. Integrating these resources to target the underserved middle-income routine travelers, we recommend BusX Pool, a private bus pooling service. The service will basically combine private bus services with pooled routes, which therefore lowers costs for consumers. This enables consumers to enjoy point-to-point bus travel that is cheaper than taxis but more convenient than public transport. Catered to routine travelers, the app outsources routes and tabulates the most efficient routes to bring a large group of travelers to their respective destinations in the shortest time period. Users can enter their daily routes and budget for recommendations on possible routes. They can explore existing activated routes or to crowd book entire routes with their friends. The benefits of BusX Pool is that it leverages on a reorganized RIN bundle of Comfort's resources to fulfill an underserved segment. Based on Porter's 5, Through this strategy, Comfort has also been able to enter a segment with relatively less rivalry. In terms of feasibility, we hope to build the application through available open source codes for creating bus pooling software, including Beeline. Moreover, a JV with Maven Lab, as described later, will facilitate excellent app development. To drive sufficient network effects, crowd booking collaborations with companies, as well as the triggering of word of mouth through an emphasis on cost savings, will be considered. Lastly, we have also incorporated probing into our considerations in order to maximize success chances. In terms of demand, we hope to utilize crowdsourcing platforms as a demand test bed after creating a web-based minimum viable product that allows users to enter their daily routes and see prices. Routes or app development will only begin when demand hits a certain threshold. In terms of software, we hope to push it out in gradual stages with established feedback loops. Finally, in terms of marketing, we hope to rely mostly on word of mouth as a low-cost strategy to spread our brand, such as the enablement of Facebook sharing of listed routes so that people can rally more people to join certain routes in order to activate more routes while at the same time also increasing our user acquisition. Next, disrupt. Comfort and Grab actually operate on very different revenue models, with Grab focusing on revenue-based commission, while Comfort works largely on a rental model or mileage-based commission. However, we see two trends that threaten its overt focus on taxis. Internally, taxis are increasingly shifting towards private hire cars due to a greater flexibility and lower barriers to entry. Externally, it is also under pressure of changing consumer preferences in favor of engaging private hire cars due to the larger supply that is available. While one strategic option is to attempt to curb the rise of private hire cars by improving taxi acquisition, our team believes that the move towards private hire cars is driven by intrinsic differences between different segments of drivers preferring either more committed modes of income or more flexible modes. Therefore, it is imperative instead for Comfort to look into incorporating private hire cars into its revenue model. Rather than competing head-on with Grab through the commission-based revenue model, our team believes that there is an opportunity for differentiation by incorporating innovations in their rental-based model for private hires, especially since Comfort has traditionally operated similar to a rental company for taxis. We identified two issues faced by private hire car rentals. Firstly, the high cost of rental, which can go up to $100 per day, as well as the poor flexibility of rental hours. By analyzing the current model of most private hire car rental companies, including Comfort's own Rent-A-Car, we can see that the reasons for this is a limited supply of vehicles as well as the need to maximize return on investment for the cost of each vehicle. However, we notice an opportunity for incorporating private car owners into the equation. Why so? Firstly, private car owners face high costs relating to car ownership, yet have little ways to recoup their losses. Yet, their cars may be left idle for long periods of time with little utilization. This leads to an opportunity for private car owners to lease out their cars for passive income, and they can do so at lower rates due to the fact that the alternative will essentially be earning nothing at all. The high supply of idle hours from private cars will also improve the flexibility of rental hours by enabling hourly rental options. We therefore recommend CarX Exchange, a platform to connect car owners with renters. CarX Exchange enables private hire drivers to rent their cars at cheap hourly rates while enabling private car owners to earn passive income from their cars. Basically, it's similar to an Airbnb for cars. By offering a superior substitute for private hire car rentals through incorporating the element of marketplace, Comfort is able to disrupt its own revenue model and adapt it to the rising trend for private hire vehicles, yet also providing a huge draw factor for private hire vehicles based on the issues we have identified that they are facing. We have also addressed some executional concerns relating to safety, insurance, and petrol. Finally, to wrap up the leverage and disrupt sections, my team has also conducted a make or buy analysis to conclude on joint venture as the option to develop technological applications required in our strategy. In particular, Maven Lab is a company that has developed multiple successful transportation applications for the local context and will be a good partner for Comfort to work with. In the last stage, we believe that comfort has to redefine what it means in the minds of consumers. In particular, we propose a new sub-arm of ComfortDelgro called ComfortX to dissociate this taxi system from the old perceptions of its brand. In terms of branding, ComfortX will differentiate themselves on three main factors, namely quality, price, and social responsibility. ComfortX can model against Flywheel, which is a part of the Soto cab, the oldest and largest cab company in San Francisco. ComfortX will thus translate practices locally by introducing the app with basic functions as well as GPS navigation, booking, knowing the taxis around, and price. This rebranding will open up a new customer base and steal back market shares from the ride-sharing giants such as Grab. We have now finished our video and we hope that this has been very insightful for you.